My name is Jonathan Menton, and I am Associate Director for Special Collections at the Gilmore Music Library. The piece I have chosen is a recording of the world premiere on January 20th, 1939, of the Concord Sonata by Charles Ives, performed by Ralph Kirkpatrick. The reason I chose this piece is because it is the only known recording of this performance anywhere in the world. The section I have selected is a short extract from the start of the third movement, the Olcots. Kirkpatrick's performance here is sensational, and even with the surface noise on the recording, you could hear a pin drop in the hall. The blend between the serene opening and then the descent into chaos, which is typical of Ives, is very stark in this recording.
Having this recording of piano playing, but like you say, with crackles and pops, and that kind of made me think of the way dust collects on a stylus, on a piece of vinyl, and so you get that sense of situatedness, but also technology doing that too, recording, and that being what makes that work. Actually, it becomes a different. I don't feel like I wish I were in the room encountering that in some kind of unmediated manner. I think it's all that mediation, that noise, which makes that recording so interesting and powerful.
My experience of listening to that was just whatever happens when I listen to a recording of something very old, and it becomes not just about the music, but about like the attempt to capture something in the moment that then lives on throughout time. And so I just was really struck with just like imagining what it must have been like for those people in that moment to be listening to that piece of music and to, in a weird way, be captured in the listening of that music, and then that music to then be available to me or to anyone else later to just sort of take in. And so the recording itself, to me, is the art even more than the music.
It has a sort of exacting effect sonically, because I play a few instruments myself. And when I just started to learn, it was by imitation. I taught myself how to play those instruments. And so the kind of exacting measure of landing on something that you have practiced deliberately for very many days, very many weeks, and to have it persist somehow into the future. I don't have any of those recordings of myself practicing or learning or playing all those years ago, but what the sound evokes is memory of those things. And it has a lot to do with the static noise, the stuff in between the sounds.
I had a strange feeling of sort of being present in the room. I guess that should be any recording of music that you hear in theory, but there's something that felt very present about it. I like the crackliness of it, I think even though it's not at all as pure of a sound, or as pure of an experience of the actual sound, but I think that the interference sort of reminds you in a way that you're looking at the past. And I think there's something about being relieved of having it be perfect or being relieved of having it feel present allows you, I think, to maybe sink into it more in a certain way.
A lot of just like well-sculpted sound work feels architectural. So if I'm sitting in it, it feels like things are being built, or like space itself is kind of being able to be more present. I really feel that the sound enacts that, or at least makes that thinking possible. So the kind of like the dissonant space in that piano piece sort of like allows me to kind of sit in that thinking.
The static noise, the cracking sounds, the spaces in between the notes, in between the music. I think that is what I find generative, more so than what the piano is doing. And I think that's because the quality of that sound and the sort of paramusical quality of this recording reminds me of a long ago radio in my childhood, where to have a sense of the world that is bigger than yours. And so it makes me think of the sort of space that helped to create that sound that survived, and what the sounds of my own history, my own life, persisting, what that might be, even with the static and the cracking and the silences in between.